Welcome back to Bluebird Territory, presented by Miller Lite. As you can see, we got a special guest here today, fellas, and that is going to be our Miller Lite Cold Open. He is a longtime big league catcher, current Sportsnet analyst, and I've heard a connoisseur of the Citizens Bank Park cheesesteaks. He is Caleb Joseph. How's it going, man? Thanks for hopping on.
Yeah, you got it. What's up, fellas? How we doing?
We're good.
Doing pretty good. I'll start with a big picture one before we narrow in a little. What are you seeing from the Blue Jays right now? Like, where do you think, from your perspective, this team is at?
Yeah, they're trying to keep their head above water. That's just what I see. Just do anything possible to stay relevant, to kind of keep your head above water while all your injured players can get back to health, whether that's Bieber, whether that's getting Barger back, whether that's getting Alejandro Kirk back. They're just not healthy. And to be honest with you, it's like playing with one tied behind their backs. And so, yes, they do have a little bit of help with the American League being as jumbled up as it is, but they've got to stay relevant. And this is a pivotal part of the season where, in my opinion, if you get too far behind and you have 3 or 4 teams in that mix that start to really sort of separate themselves, you're going to be in a bit of trouble trying to catch up and leapfrog a number of different teams. But the AL East is a beast. Again, Rays are tough, Yankees are tough, and so they've got to get healthy first before I can really even start to comment, because when you try and judge the team by the contributions of a guy like Sosa or even Sanchez, like it to me, that's not really the leaning part of the roster that they were wanting to really lean on. And so when you're asking guys to do different things that they probably weren't going to be expected of, it's hard to really try and pinpoint what do they have to do. But they are what they are right now, and they've got to find a way to win, and it's going to get really tough, especially with Detroit and New York went up.
Caleb, there's moments where this team at times, and we've talked about it in this podcast a lot, looks emotionally flat. As a former player, how hard is it to maintain confidence when expectations are so high and the standings start getting away from you in May?
Yeah, it's tough, especially knowing that you played incredibly meaningful games in November, and that's what you want to do. And you get a taste of that, and that is like a drug that you kind of want to go run after. I'm sure Kevin, even Ricky, you guys know what that feels like when you're playing at a certain level. You become addicted to it, and you want to go after it. How do you stay emotionally engaged and emotionally high? It's winning. It's very simple. I mean, if you win, you stay there. It's easy to kind of feel sorry for yourself and start mule lipping a little bit. Had a double A coach one time, quit mule lipping, man. And that's just the whole woe is me, and it's easy to do, right? It's easy to do when your expectations are way up here and your output is a little bit lower than what you expect. But you got to find that internally. You got to look in the mirror every day and say, am I bringing the best version of myself? What do I have to do today? What do I have to do? Is it steal a base? I got to do that. And when you have 26 guys individually then meeting together, that's when you can start to win a game here or there. There's probably been 6 or 7 games that I have seen that if they would have executed and each guy just done his job, not be more than what he has to be, but be himself, they might be 6 or 7 games above, but they've had a ton of self-inflicted wounds. And so when you feel like you're not individually getting it done, it does lead to that, mule lipping type of attitude. And so you got to come to the ballpark and flush it as best as you can and live each day in each game as a brand new day. It's hard when you're getting your face beat in. And it's hard when you lose some of these emotionally close games as well. I think about, game 2 versus Tampa just a couple of days ago. They got to extras. They fought back, and then they weren't able to get it done. Tampa just out-executed them in the 10th. And those are the hard ones. It's the emotionally draining ones that really start to kind of weigh on you. If you're just getting beat 5-1, 6-2, then you can flush it a little bit easier. But when you fight back and claw back, or you have a couple bad breaks here and there, those are the ones that really start to drain you. And it really starts to give you that whole, maybe it's not our year. Well, there's still a ton of games left. And so you got to really get past that type of mantra, because if you get stuck in there, it becomes habit. And I'm sure you guys remember, once you kind of get that in your head, it's hard to bust out of it.
All right, Caleb. Blue Jay fans know you on Blue Jay Central, but you've been given an opportunity this year to, sit up there in the booth with either Dan or Ben. Bigger shoes to fill when you were a backup catcher and, like, say, Matt Wieters went down, or you sitting in the chair that Buck Martinez used to sit in?
Woo! Is this a good one? Really tough. That was tough walking into a situation where the team was good, expecting to win, and you're the game caller and you're trying to call pitches on a winning team. I feel for Valenzuela right now because I feel like I experienced that same type of entry into the big leagues. It's not like you're going into a scenario where you're going to have some leash and some leeway and you're okay making a couple mistakes here and there because you're a rookie catcher. Like, no, the team's expecting to win. They're trying to win right now. And that was a big jump, I would say. Trying to potentially is probably not even the right word, being in the same seat as Buck Martinez, that's a whole different animal. No one will ever fill those shoes. He's just tremendous man, tremendous baseball man, a life spent in the game, iconic voice, iconic calls, amazing stories. And Kevin, Ricky, I'm sure you guys have spent time with him off the field. He's even better off the field. And that's what's hard to explain to people, is what you saw on TV each and every night. That's just a small portion of really what he's got and who he is. And getting to spend a lot of time with him was truly one of the highlights of my entire baseball career. And sitting in that same seat, that's tough. That's probably the harder one, because you're so young and the level is so high, and he was so good at what he did, and just he knew the city so well, he knew the team so well, he just knew that aspect of broadcasting so well. It's a lot. There's a lot going on. People don't realize when you're in the booth that you're trying to talk, and you might have a producer or a director talking in your ear as you're trying to talk. It's a lot going on, and you're trying to do a good job. And then you've got this standard that's way up here. It's nerve wracking. And I mean, I'm exhausted after games, just trying to do a nice job. But Buck was one of a kind. No one will ever replace Buck. I'd probably say trying to sit up there and continue on for Buck, that's probably been the biggest challenge so far.
Quick follow-up on that, because you mentioned the catching situation. And I know me and you last year when we worked together, we talked about potentially the Blue Jays needing that catching coach, that veteran presence. Obviously when Kirk's there, he's still fairly young in his career. And then you have, two young catchers. How important do you think it's been having Drew Butera there? And have you had any conversations about anything with him? And what do you think the Blue Jays do when Alejandro Kirk comes back?
Yeah, Drew Butera has been a huge help. I know you've been just talking to Heineman and talking to Valenzuela, how nice it is to have a catching guy that you can go back and go over sequences with. Pete Walker's one of the best in the game. He's got tremendous feel. The guy is all over the place. The minute he gets to the park, he is running crazy. He's managing 15 different guys and all the meetings and the coaches. And to kind of put the kind of game planning and game calling responsibility on him, it's just unfair in my opinion. And so to have Drew Butera in there that they can go to, and I remember being a catcher, being in that exact same position where you're learning on the job, and sequences are changing, pitchers' repertoires are changing, and you want to be able to bounce ideas off of someone who's been back there, who has been at the major league level, called pitches, and knows those gut feelings that you can have these real intimate conversations with because they've been back there. Like, hey, I felt like he was crowding the plate a little bit. Felt like he was late on that fastball, and I knew if we could get a slider underneath, we could get him. But like, should I have repeated a fastball there? Like, being able to go back and forth is integral in the development of a catcher. And I think you alluded to it perfectly. Even though Kirk has a number of different years, well, not different, a number of years on his resume, I really didn't feel comfortable actually calling a big league game until like my fourth full season. And that's kind of shocking considering I played quite a bit early on, and it just takes so many repetitions to get to know the league and just to know the flow of a game. And having Butera, that really helps speed the process up. I do think there's still some learning curves with Valenzuela that you can see every once in a while. Mm-hmm. He'll kind of fall in a pattern or two, and he'll kind of get baited in by a veteran hitter. But those are learning curves that are normal. He's really putting himself on the map. Valenzuela is, and I think he's really impressing. You got to start thinking as a GM though, where do they look if they were to go to Valenzuela when Kirk comes back, and kind of DFA Heineman. Well, if they lose Heineman on waivers, who's the next guy up? And that's how GMs start to think. And so you talk about asset retention and these types of really fancy words that GMs like to use. But if they lose Heineman, I don't know who they have. And so that's a big deal. He needs at bats as well. Valenzuela needs at bats. The catching is really, really close. The arm is absolutely there. Game calling is getting there. But it's the at bats that I think you have to weigh. Do you want him sitting, playing twice a week behind Kirk, or do you want him getting everyday at bats? It might depend on where they're at in the season too when Kirk comes back. And it doesn't seem like he's not around the corner anytime soon. I mean, that's a big deal, that thumb and catching hand, and they need him back because his bat in the lineup's so integral.
Tell you what, I wish I'm sure the Padres wish they had Valenzuela right now. So that's how valuable he is. But another guy that's young and that's been a huge staple in this lineup, Yohendrick Piñango. How impressive has he been at the plate in everything you've seen?
So, Ricky, I got a question. Did you were you there with Melky? Did you cross paths with Melky Cabrera?
Mm-hmm. Well, KP more than me.
I cannot get over the fact that this Piñango kid, he is like a carbon copy of Melky Cabrera, in my opinion. It's freaking me out, man. The build, like the square build, kind of runs around shoulders the same, like even being left-handed. The way he catches the ball in the outfield, it looks so similar, even his throwing motion, but like his follow-through when he swings, I'm getting like crazy like flashbacks. Like that is Melky Cabrera to a T. And Melky could hit some liners. He had a flat bat, usually at the top of the zone. He could scoop some stuff rolling into him, little down and in hanging sliders that didn't finish. He could scoop them, but would have no problem just kind of taking a fastball middle in and shooting you to left center field as a left-handed hitter. And he was a nightmare to call pitches against because you never felt like you could really jam him up. I think that it's been impressive watching what he does. And sometimes when you call guys up from AAA that don't really know the grind of what's going on there, they bring that type of energy. They bring, a shot of adrenaline, as Altuve likes to say. We need adrenaline. Give some adrenaline to the team. And, I think that how he handled that whole getting sent down and then coming back up, that could have been pretty tricky. I mean, think about it. We've all been broken up with, I'm sure. And it's kind of weird, if someone says, hey, I'm breaking up with you, and then 72 hours later, they're like, hey, I want to get back together. Even though you might really want to be with that person, it's still a little bit weird, and I think that's exactly what happened when they sent him out. And then before he knows it, he's right back in, and he handled it well and was right back in the lineup and produced for him. But that's what you want. You want healthy competition throughout a team, throughout an organization, to keep pushing guys, even veteran guys, that I just always felt like I played the best, knowing that my job wasn't safe and knowing that there's somebody knocking down the door. It's just that healthy type of competition that he's definitely bringing. And I don't care if he doesn't slug right now. That's just me. I think slug comes with age, comes with repetition, and it's loft out in front. When you're looking to slug, the way that his bat path moves, that's just a little bit more out in front with the contact point. I like that he's tight to the body. I like he's getting extra base hits on line drives. And if he stays right there, I think he'll naturally start to figure out, okay, I can cheat a little bit on this pitch and this count, create a little bit of loft, and then try and go for some homers. But he's been impressive, and I'm telling you, it's Melky Cabrera all over again. And if he ends up having the same career, that'd be pretty good.
Hey, I will say on Blue Jay Central a couple of days ago when I was out there, Jamie dropped it, and we talked about it off camera, and then I said it on camera, and he gave you the credit. So you are the originator of the Melky Cabrera comp, because I saw it too when Jamie.
I can't unsee it now. Like you really see it now.
The only thing he doesn't do is switch hit. The only thing he doesn't do is switch hit, but the body, the movements, wild. It's crazy.
I think Melky won an All-Star Game MVP at some point in his career, so Piñango's got that in his future. That's not bad at all. We got a couple more for you, Caleb, but we will hit those on the other side of this quick break.
Baseball season is back, and it's a great time to drink a cold Miller Lite.
It's the perfect time to watch a game with some friends and drink a cold Miller Lite.
It's got that great taste, and it's just 90 calories in a 355 milliliter can. For all my fellow Canadians, Miller Lite is the official beer of baseball in Canada, so why not go grab some Miller Lites today? Because your game time is Miller time. Must be legal drinking age. Celebrate responsibly. All right, Caleb, we got a segment on the show called the Bet365 Deep Dive, and I got one for you here. I'm just going to pull up the World Series odds to get us started. And you can see, like, the Jays opened pretty high up on those odds. They're what? That's I'm going to have to count in real time here, but I think they're down to 11th on the World Series odds right now. And I think about last season, seasons before, any good team, it seems, has like a couple games or a couple moments, a couple bench clears where they point to and they're like, that's when we really got going. Wednesday, the Varsho Grand Slam kind of gave me those vibes. We'll see how it works. But I'm curious, in your career, you were around a couple teams that went to the playoffs. Is there any moment that sticks out where you look back and you're like, yeah, that's when I knew that was a good team?
Yeah, I remember a bench clearing incident with Ventura in Kansas City, and I think he's recently passed away. But he was a right-hander. He would go after guys. He'd go after guys now and again. Just oh man, got tired of getting hit, and he just drill a guy. And he had drilled a couple guys in Kansas City, and Manny was up there, and Manny had kind of mentioned, he's like, I think he's going to come after me. And it was before the game, and we had kind of been really close to really meshing. And sure enough, he comes after him just right in the ribs, just drills him right in the ribs. And Manny looks out there, and he doesn't even hesitate, and he just takes off. And before I know it, the entire team is out there. And we were all behind him. And there's just something about running out there and feeling like a cavalry together and feeling like an army together that can just really bring you closer as a team. And then you talk about it for the next 2 or 3 months here and there, and there'll be offhand joke in a random clubhouse. Hey, we had your back. Don't be afraid to have mine. All these types of things, and it just brings you together. And I can really point to that in 14 and say that was a moment that really kind of changed I'm not gonna say the course of our season, but it kind of changed the chemistry a little bit. Like we just grew a little bit closer. And every season I think has a moment like that. We talk about this is Joe Siddle. We talk about the home run that Bo Bichette hit in uh, in Texas last year, and that just for whatever reason that kind of just flipped the script. They were right in the middle of a tough stretch. I think they had lost maybe the first 2 games of that series, and then bam, hits the homer, and that just kind of sent them forward. And it makes you wonder if that Varsho slam could be that same moment. They've got to get healthy. That's the thing is I just think they're going to continue to tread water until they get healthy. I honestly am not sure their lineup's deep enough. Um, I think there's some pieces there, and they've got to really continue to do what they need to do. But in my opinion, they've got to play perfect baseball to win games right now. They got to have great starting pitching. The bullpen's got to continue doing what it does, and they cannot have any sort of self-inflicted wounds. That's no errors on the base pass, not giving up anything. They've got to play perfect defense, and that's just where they're at. They can do it. It's high pressure. It's a lot to ask, but they can do it. I just haven't seen that type of like perfect play over the first several weeks of the season to indicate that they have that ability with what's in house. So I think they got to really get healthy, and Father Time is just ticking on them right now, and so they got to stay relevant. But yeah, every season seems to have that one moment, and maybe in Jay's history it was Pilar running down and climbing over the wall and stealing a homer or something. Superman out there. I would hit 222 if he wasn't playing center field for the Jays for sure.
That has been our Bet365 deep dive. Baseball fans, there's nothing better than a day at the ballpark, but there's nothing worse than waiting in long lines around the ballpark. That's why Bet365 has 5-run early payout. When the team you're riding goes up 5 runs, at any point in the game, they'll pay your bet out right then and there, win or lose. No waiting required. Besides, the earlier you get paid, the earlier you can go back for another hot dog. Bet365, download the app and see what early payout's all about. Must be 19 or older, Ontario only. Please play responsibly. If you or someone you know has concerns about gambling, visit ConnexOntario.ca. Terms and conditions apply.
You know what's funny? It is the 10-year anniversary of the Odor Jose fight today.
Oh shit, really? Wow.
10-year anniversary. But Caleb, give me your thought process, your thoughts on the comments about Vladdy struggling because he feels like he has to carry the load. But we've kind of talked a little bit about yes, there's been a ton of injuries, but there's some guys that are performing, decently. Do you buy into that, or do you think he's just struggling?
Yeah, I think he from time to time falls into that category where he self-inflicts and he starts to think he has to do more. And, it's not his fault that player X, Y, and Z is not around him. But the big boys, they find a way to get it done. And my opinion on Vladdy's been the same since day one. Since I played with him in 2020, it's the same opinion. This is a really, really good hitter that has occasional power. He's not a power hitter. And when he tries to hit for power, everything inside of his mechanics, everything inside of his swing, everything inside of his timing goes out the window. And that's when he looks like he just can't hit at all. But because he's so talented, because his hand-eye is so unbelievable, he can throw his fanny to the third base dugout. He can throw his hands to the first base dugout and find a barrel and get 2 hits looking like he's never swung a baseball bat before. When he stays within, he finds that stroke, and then he turns line drives into homers. I remember 2020 being in the COVID season, and Dante Bichette was there, and he and Bo are obviously really close, and they just really started hammering that middle away fastball off the tee on the field, which you saw a couple days ago, him being out really early on the tee and just really honing that right center gap for the right-handed hitter. And when he has that type of swing and stroke down, he can start pulling the hanging breaking balls with authority. When Vladdy hit his peak, I think in 21, a lot of fastballs were going dead center, right center, and a lot of breaking balls were going to left center. When he's really trying to yank, and that's what I've seen over the last 5-6 weeks, is everything is pull side, and the way his bat path work, because he is a little bit steeper, he's getting a lot of low left misses. And so I think he's got to eliminate the inner part and just go to right center, be on the fastball, but be able to go to right center. If he gives himself a direction, and he's told me that TD sign in right center when he's going well, that's all he sees. He sees that lane and he tries to hit it in that lane. But man, he is down, out, and across, and most hitters, they got to get locked in going the opposite field. So I think it's self-inflicted. I don't think anyone is asking him to do anything more than he has been. And when he feels like he needs to, that's when he tries to do more, and then he turns into not really putting out anything. So until he really starts leaning on some pitches on the outer half, and you could tell he's going that way, and then gives up the inner half and is able to take some pitches on the inner half, I think you're going to see much of the in between that he is right now, late on the fastball, early on the breaking ball. And look, if it's low and left, if it's to shortstop, if it's to third base, it's not a good swing for Vladdy.
On the pitching side, Caleb, you get to see this guy a lot, and you've seen him a lot. We've seen him early in season struggle with command. How impressive has Dylan Cease been over the last few starts? It looks like he's made the adjustments. He wanted to pitch a little bit more to contact, get hitters out early, get deeper into games. What's the biggest difference that you see from the beginning of the season to where he is right now?
Man, this guy's playing video games out there right now. It is. I cannot even imagine getting to catch this guy in his arsenal and what he brings. I think just turning into a power guy and starting to really open his lanes up into thinking about pitching and truly getting deep, I think it's given him even more confidence in the other pitches. When you have other pitches that you can protect your out pitches, and that forces the hitters to like move their eye level up, down, in, out, it just makes those out pitches even better. And when he stops chasing strikeouts, he's going to actually get more. He was talking about that front hip sinker the day after his start versus the Angels to me in the clubhouse. And I thought, wow, like if you're really starting to think about that pitch, because that's a pitcher's pitch, Ricky, like you can rear back and just 98 down the middle, but that takes a lot of feel. It takes a lot of kind of creativity. It takes a lot of effort to really try and manipulate that ball. And you're seeing a shape, like you're seeing a pitching shape when you envision that pitch. It's not just grip it and rip it. He has that ability and he can, but he's talking about landing some backdoor breaking balls to left-handed hitters. He's starting to talk like pitching. And I think that's a big deal, pitching versus throwing. And sky's the limit for this guy, man. Like it really is. It's scary how good his stuff maintains into the 90, 95, and 100 pitch areas when he gets into those areas in terms of his pitch count. His stuff maintains so unbelievable. He's so good with his lower half. He torques so well. He's talked about yoga being a big deal, but the way he like stretches and his torso stays back and he's able to really rubber band twist that body around, he's going to maintain it as long as he's healthy. But the creativity and pitching, I think, is going to really start to show itself. And it did. It did against Tampa. He was just crushing that inner lane against the lefties. And that's not an easy pitch for a right-hander to continue to go into lefties, especially with that two-seamer. If that leaks over, you get a guy out in front, that's pull side pop right there if you leave it out in the middle. But he was nailing, he was missing on the right side. And then he just played the X game, sinker in, slider off of that, and they had absolutely no chance. And that was just like one thing he said. I mean, imagine what happens when he starts to go backdoor breakers and he takes their eyes on the other level. I mean, this guy's got like 9 weapons, man, and like he's only using 4. It's really scary to what he could potentially be. I mean, I'd love it as a catcher because, man, like you can just shake the magic 8-ball up, backdoor slider, okay, and just call it, and like you never have a bad pitch to call. That's a catcher's dream back there. You can never be blamed. Oh, I threw an 80 grade pitch. Why are you gonna blame me for that? Like, what a dream to catch that guy.
I mean, as someone who wanted to always learn how to throw a front door hip sinker, I mean, that shit is hard, man. It's hard. And I used to watch Doc do it, and I always tried doing it, and it just never worked for me. So I gave up easily on that. But that pitch is deadly to hitters. I feel it's the best when you see them kind of flinch and they're like give up on it, and it's just it's awesome, but it's hard to do.
As a catcher, when you get in that left-handed hitter, get up in their kitchen and like you give that inside target and you see it right on your glove and you know you're about to just massage it back into the zone. You can feel their body like you can feel them kind of lifting up and you're like, oh, you're done, bro. And then just, I mean, it's just a great pitch to frame. Oh, there's no greater feeling, especially with 2 strikes. And then you got Tornado Tom back there, ringing him up or whatever. Oh, the best.
Hey, this is a perfect segue. I was going to ask you about Eric Lauer, your thoughts on that, but I shit canned it. We're going to talk about your buddy, your former teammate, and I'm pretty sure you were there for his debut, Kevin Gausman. As his friend, former teammate, someone gets to, still call his games. How proud are you of his accomplishment? 2,000 strikeouts, that's no joke.
Yeah, I was there for the game, and I got emotional just thinking about it. Being in left center field in the studio, just like, man, like this might be the only teammate that has like a true career, like milestone moment that I was a part of. Played a very, very small part in that. I went down and talked to him the next day and said, hey, you're welcome. I caught at least 2 or 3 foul tips, to secure 2 or 3 strikeouts. I'll have a medium rare steak, next time we're out. It was tremendous getting to watch him do that. And he's been the same guy since the first day I met him to even talking to him after starts now, 10, 12 years later. He's the same guy, but the transformation has been truly unbelievable. I mean, I knew when I caught his stuff, like this guy's an ace. He should be one of the top tier pitchers in the big leagues. You just know, you can just feel the stuff back there as a catcher. Like, why is it this guy dominating? And then come to find out it's because, we were trying to throw 18-inch vert pitches down in the zone. Well, that pitch plays up in the zone, and his split's way better than we thought. But a career that has really been consistent in terms of staying healthy. He always gives you a chance to win. He just doesn't panic, and it's really crazy watching him too, like as the young, gangly little, baby giraffe out there, turning into like the old giraffe, because he's still a little bit of a giraffe out there, long limbs and all that stuff. But it's fun watching him kind of like hobble around a little bit because he's older and he's put some years on, but he's still super competitive. And I've just so much enjoyed being close to him throughout the last 5 years in Toronto. And man, Toronto, he loves Toronto. And people don't realize how big of a deal Toronto is to him, and how his wife and his little girls love that place. And so, Canadians really, they've done a great job welcoming him. And he says the best decision he's ever made in his career to go to Toronto. That's a big deal. And so, hats off to the Canadians and the Blue Jays for kind of starting that. Hey, we're going to break the mantra of like not being able to get big free agents in here. And you saw that a lot of guys have followed. And so 2,000 strikeouts is no joke. He's more proud about 200 innings, and he was calculating it on the field with me. He was like, I think I got about maybe 8 or 9 starts to get to 2,000 innings, which that's a big deal, Ricky, especially for those kind of hybrid guys that are in the strikeout era and in the inning era to have both of those, he'll be one of very few that play from here on out that can say that they probably got 2 and 2.
Agreed. I feel like we're obviously this is like the Vladdy era of this team, but I feel like if you segment it down in like 20 years, we're going to talk about this kind of 5-year window as the Kevin Gausman era of the Blue Jays, just because of all the success they've had under his contract. Last one, Caleb, we'll let you go. Thanks so much for your time. We're going to see a little more Gausman this weekend. Trey's pitching tonight. Maybe some Spencer Miles action on Saturday. What is one thing you're looking for in the Tiger series?
Well, win the series.
Caleb's phone overheated at the end there, but I think we got the gist of it. I think just win the series, and we'll see what the Tigers and Jays have in store for us this weekend. We'll be back to talk about it on the next episode of Bluebird Territory before the Jays take on the Yankees in 4 in the Bronx. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode.
If you made it this far, you'll love this next video. Check it out right here. And make sure you've subscribed to Bluebird Territory for more Jays coverage like this multiple times a week.